communication training with Dan O'Connor.
Hi everybody, it's Dan O'Connor, and I'm doing a live class, and I got a question during that class, so I wanted to answer that. And by the way, if you wanted to get in on an upcoming live class, because this one is sold out, drop me a line at dan@daноconnortraining.com. And to answer your question, I wanted to share it with everybody, because so many of us struggle with, at work, maintaining a positive attitude, or, is that going to be phony? But remember that there's a difference between being optimistic and being positive. Every professional communicator must, as part of the professional communicator code, maintain a positive communication style. And that does not mean being optimistic. If I need to say, this ship is sinking, that's what I need to say. But I can say it in a positive manner, which I just did. This ship is sinking is different from this ship just cannot float anymore. So what I mean by being positive is state things in a positive manner. Say what they are, not what they aren't. Say what you want, not what you don't want. Tell what things do, not what they don't do. And if you are somebody who can always maintain that positive communication style, it makes you seem, by the way, more positive, even when you're not being positive. I can say to somebody,
"Hey, what happened to John?"
Instead of, "I fired him, he stunk." If instead I say something more along the lines of, "He was better suited for a different position, so I allowed him to go explore his opportunities," that is what the polished, savvy professional communicators do, right? They always find a way to phrase things in a positive way. Telling customers, for example. By the way, the upcoming lesson is going to be on the specific verbal pattern on how to do this. If a customer asks me, if I'm working at a DoubleTree hotel, and a customer comes up and says, "Can I have a couple more of those cookies? Those are the bomb," which they are, instead of saying,
"Oh, no, I can't give you any more. You can only get them free when you check in."
If I know enough to say something such as, "Aren't they delicious?" But, to ensure that costs are kept down, not just for you, but for all of our guests, if you'd like some more, the best solution would be for you to go over to the gift shop and get some. And if you'd like me to heat them up for you, I could even do that. When I tell people what to do rather than what not to do, if I tell people, for example, what to remember rather than what to forget. Remember, most of our relationships die by 1,000 cuts. Cut, negative, neg. Especially at home, most relationships do. There comes a turning point when people can no longer handle the cuts that so many of us throw out at home. By the way, it's natural, and we talk about that in other lessons. But generally after 3 years, it starts to go. But if you have watched these lessons, it's not going to happen. If you have noticed that you have started to slip into a negative pattern, or you're being sucked down to the vortex of negativity that is your coworkers, and you want to liberate yourself, when you change your verbal patterns, you change your thought patterns. If you have been plagued with negative thoughts, speak positive words. When you start to change your verbal patterns to those of a positive communicator, it changes your brain structure. The actual fibers in your brain will change. And little things at home, like instead of saying things like, "We're out of milk," if I were to say things instead such as, "Hey, sweetheart, could you add milk to the grocery list?" Totally different. Instead of saying, "Hey, don't forget to pick up the dry cleaning on the way home," if I were to say, "Hey, would you remember to pick up the dry cleaning on the way home, please?" I will get not only a different response, and people will feel differently around me, I will get a better result. The brain is more likely to process information and remember it and do it if I phrase it using the correct syntax, which I just did. So, for example, if a customer asks me, "Hey, can I take another cash withdrawal from my account?" If I were to say, "Actually, to keep costs down, not just for you, but for everybody, you can only take one cash withdrawal per month, but I can certainly refer you over to our personal loan department and see how they can help you out. Would you like that?" That's totally different. And we're going to talk about that verbal pattern in a moment. I want to tell people what to do. I want to state what things are. Even if I'm car shopping, let's say that you're car shopping, just as one thing, you're car shopping with a potential love interest, and you get into a car. Who would you rather be with? The potential spouse that says, "No, this is too small," or the one who says, "I think I'm looking for something bigger"? We will all be seen as more attractive when we are seen as more positive. You will be the one people will want to do business with, people will want to hire, people will want to work with, and people will want to be in relationship with. When you're the one who can simply phrase things in a positive manner, talk about what things are, not what they're not. You know, I've seen people divorce other people in a positive manner. You know, if that can happen, I'm certain that I can tell my coworkers how to change their behavior in a positive manner. I'm sure I can, go over the report card of my nephew in a positive manner. And instead of saying things like, well, I see English went down, if I were to instead say, well, I can see that you and I get to work on English together. Any time you can look at something and state the facts in a totally honest way using positive language, that will boost your value as a communicator, as a professional, and it will make you seem more attractive in every area of life. So remember, it's not that you can't do that. It's you can do this. It's not, don't forget that. It's remember this. And oh, by the way, in an email, if you ever write in an email, oh, don't forget to stop in and blah, blah, blah before you leave. You're doomed. You're doomed.
You are doomed.
And you haven't taken these lessons, so make sure to start from lesson 1. But if you need to tell somebody in an email, hey, don't forget this, not only should you